A lady sits in a park, sketching a portrait of herself with a faceless man. She drops the drawing and picks up a book, stretching her legs. Her legs blocks the path of a runner, who trips and falls. She rushes to help him up and apologizes. He looks up at her and is struck by her beauty. They introduce themselves and start meeting in the park regularly. As time goes on, their friendship blossoms into a romantic relationship. During their date in the park, they share a romantic kiss. Adam tells Rebecca that he doesn't understand what she sees in the park, and Rebecca responds that she sees their future there. She invites him to Shabbat dinner, and Adam is ecstatic, saying it's a big step. He admits that it's been a long time since he's been to a Shabbat dinner, and that he barely remembers the blessings. Rebecca reassures him that her parents will love him as long as he's good to her. Adam asks what he should bring, and Rebecca playfully suggests a new car. Later in the kitchen, Rebecca and her mother are cooking together as her pregnant sister looks on. Rebecca gushes about Adam, describing him as smart, funny, and kind. She says she can't help but fall in love with him. Her sister teases her for being a hopeless romantic, but their mother tells her not to discourage her sister's feelings. Rebecca says she knows Adam is the one for her, and her family is surprised by her certainty. She reveals that he's coming to dinner on Friday, and her family is even more surprised. Rebecca admits that her heart still races whenever she sees him, and her mother asks if she thinks he might propose. Rebecca says she's open to the idea, but she's not expecting it. Meanwhile, Adam is at work, sitting in his office with his friend and colleague, Nick. They're discussing their latest project when their boss walks in, instructing Adam on what to do about a particular job that needs to get done immediately. Nick starts to update him on the project, but Adam is distracted, thinking about his love, Rebecca. Nick notices and asks Adam if he wants to chime in. Adam comes back to reality and apologizes, asking Nick to continue. Nick asks Adam where his mind was, and Adam says he's in love, which is a wonderful place to be. Adam then asks Nick if he knows that Rebecca means a woman who steals a man's heart. Nick says that he didn't know that. Adam's boss passes by and notices that he looks happy. He stops by his office to ask what's up. Adam tells him that he's excited about the Body Now account. His boss congratulates him, then leaves. Adam's anxiety kicks in, and he heads to the treadmill in his office to try to relax. Later, Rebecca is in the classroom with her student when her employer arrives and says that she talked to the board, but there's nothing more in the budget for supplies. Rebecca tells her that they'll go to the discount store and get the supplies. Her employer asks if she'd like to go in the afternoon, but Rebecca says she'll be making challah with her mom and Adam is coming over for dinner. Her employer smiles and says Miss Singer has a boyfriend. The comment catches the attention of Kevin, Rebecca's special student. They both laugh, and her employer excuses herself to her office. Rebecca goes to meet Kevin. He asks Rebecca if she really has a boyfriend, and Rebecca confirms that she does. He asks, "What's a holler?" Confused, Rebecca asks the student to repeat what he said, and he says it's the thing she's making with her mom. Rebecca now understands and explains that challah is a special kind of bread filled with happy memories. They proceed to study. On Shabbat, Rebecca is cooking with her mom in the kitchen. Her mom reminisces about learning to make challah from her own mother, saying each ingredient had a blessing. She is about to say, "Food is love you can taste," when Rebecca joins in, and they say it together. Rebecca says she misses her grandmother. Her mom tells her she has her smile and her kind eyes, and they both smile. Her mom adds that someday Rebecca will be making challah with her own daughter, and Rebecca adds, or son. Her mom says she can't wait for grandchildren, and Rebecca reminds her she already has one on the way. Her mom chuckles and says she could use a few more. She tells Rebecca that Adam is a lucky man. Rebecca asks if it's because of the challah, and her mom says it's because of the woman who made it for him. After Rebecca sets the table for dinner, her father comes in and compliments her and she thanks him. He then jokes that he gives Adam half-past dessert to decide if he's worthy of his daughter. A moment later, Rebecca's sister, Hannah, and her husband Elliot arrive. Hannah has an outrageous craving due to her pregnancy and immediately grabs a plate of food. Elliot helps her out of her jacket and asks if Adam is here yet. Rebecca says not yet. Elliot says that if Adam sticks around, they'll be watching ball games together for the next 40 years. Rebecca's mom jokes that Hannah's dress is new and Hannah jokes that she got a new hairdo to go with it. Rebecca begs her family not to scare Adam off on his first meeting with them. Rebecca's father says he's not going to ask Adam his intentions, but her mother says she will. Just then, the doorbell rings. Rebecca straightens her dress, while her sister and her husband check their teeth. Her father goes to the door and meets Adam with wine, flowers, and gifts. Adam seems nervous and hesitates. Mr. Singer invites him in again and he goes in, thanking him as he does. He meets the rest of Rebecca's family and is clearly tense. He tells Rebecca's mom that he hasn't been to a Shabbat dinner in a long time. He hands her the wine and flowers, while Hannah grabs the chocolate boxes before he can hand them over. Adam tells Mr. Singer that he knows it's a lot, and he wanted to make a good impression. Mr. Singer says he's impressed by Adam's honesty. Rebecca introduces Adam to her sister Hannah and her husband Elliot. Elliot jokes that it's customary on the Shabbat to get the sister's husband a ticket to a Cubs game. Adam jokes that he's not familiar with that tradition, but he'll keep it in mind for next time. Elliot asks if he's assuming there will be a next time, and Adam tells him he's just hoping out loud. They go to the dining table to eat and sing blessings over the food, and then make a toast. Hannah unveils the challah, and they sing blessings again. Adam can't sing along, but joins in with a hearty amen at the end. Rebecca asks Adam to do the honor and cut the challah, and he agrees. Elliot jokes that Adam should save some for the rest of them. Rebecca quickly assures Adam that Elliot was just kidding, and they all laugh. Adam tries the challah and compliments the chef. He asks if Rebecca is the one who made it, and she replies that she and her mother made it together. Adam jokingly asks if he gets to eat challah every Friday night if they're together. Rebecca asks how together they're talking about. Adam hesitates, then says, as together as it gets. Mrs. Singer jokes that Adam hasn't even tried Rebecca's brisket yet, and they all laugh. Rebecca and Hannah clear the dishes. Their mother passes by and says Adam fits in very well, and leaves Rebecca blushing. Hannah asks Rebecca if she's thought about whether Adam wants kids. Rebecca turns the question around and asks if Hannah thinks she'd get involved with someone who didn't like kids. Hannah apologizes, and Rebecca says that Adam is pretty perfect, if Hannah hadn't noticed. Adam walks in to see if they need any help and overhears Rebecca. Rebecca asks if he's standing right behind her, and he jokes that he came to see if they needed any help, but now he's backing away having heard nothing. The women laugh, and Adam leaves them. At the end of the night, Adam says it's the best Shabbat dinner he's ever had. He tells them he lost his father when he was 4. He further reveals about how he was raised, and says his Jewish heritage was lost. Mr. Singer suggests he reclaim it. They ask him questions, and Mrs. Singer eventually says to stop asking him questions and let him eat. They talk about other things, and Adam leaves. The next day, Adam goes to work, and his mom, Diane, calls. He tells her he has some good news, and she asks if he's going to tell her. He says he will, but it will have to wait until later, since she's at work. Nick walks by Adam's office and hears him talking on the phone, so he asks who he's yelling at. Adam tells him he's talking to his mom. Nick asks Adam what he's pitching, and Adam says it's his pitch for work. Adam pitches an advert in a romantic way. Nick teases him that his pitch is really about Rebecca. Adam laughs and says that he's actually found love and is proposing to Rebecca. Nick offers to go get the engagement ring for Adam, and he walks out of the office, smiling. Later, Adam and Rebecca go to their favorite park. Rebecca notices that their names are engraved on the bench. Adam says there's more, then gets down on one knee and proposes. Rebecca accepts his proposal and says she can't wait to tell her parents, and Adam tells her that his mom will be in Chicago the following week. Rebecca asks what Adam's mom is like, and he says she's very opinionated. Rebecca says her mom is also opinionated, and Adam says their moms have a lot in common. They hold hands and head home. Later, Adam brings his mom to meet Rebecca's family. Rebecca answers the door with a big smile on her face. Adam introduces his mom to Rebecca, and Rebecca welcomes her in. They all sit at the dining table and start discussing when Rebecca and Adam's wedding will be. Each person has different engagements on every date they pick. Rebecca's mother decides to call the rabbi and asks about available dates. The rabbi says the only available date is June 17th, and they agree to that date. Rebecca and Adam then go to the rabbi's office, and he gives them a 20-question quiz to assess how well they know each other. After the test, the rabbi observes their answers and tells them they both have a lot in common but seem to view each other differently. He tells Rebecca that she feels like Adam gets a little nervous at times, and Adam tries to disagree, but Rebecca reminds him of different times he got nervous, and also reminds him of the treadmill in his office. The rabbi reveals other things they do not agree on and urges them to discuss them. He further tells them that when they sign the ketubah, they need to know each other to understand what they're promising. They agree with the rabbi and their meeting comes to an end. At Rebecca's house, they are reading through a book when Rebecca's mother asks what they are reading. Rebecca tells her that the rabbi had given them a book to read. Adam comments that the ketubah seems like a lot of work, and that they have very little time before the wedding. Rebecca points out her parents' ketubah hanging on the wall and explains that it has been in the family for years. They then decide on a ketubah they both like. Later, Rebecca and Adam go for a walk in the neighborhood, talking about their future together. Rebecca says she wants 3 kids and Adam says he likes the sound of that. Rebecca also says that if they have a boy, she'd like to name him Herschel. Adam says he's not sure about the name, but she suggests the name Harry as a compromise. Rebecca then tells Adam that she wants to have twins. Adam is taken aback, but then smiles and says he thinks it would be amazing to have twins. The next day, Adam goes to work and meets with a client. He presents some advertising ideas for the client, who loves them. Rebecca goes to a bridal store with her mother and Adam's mother. The two women disagree about every dress Rebecca tries on, and Rebecca ends up standing up for herself and choosing her own dress. Later, as Adam is running on the treadmill, his boss comes into his office to tell him that the client, Charlie, loved his ideas, and they got the account. Adam is thrilled, and his boss congratulates him and offers him the vice president position at the company, and to relocate to Los Angeles. Adam is stunned, and he says he appreciates the offer, but that he doesn't want to move Rebecca away from her teaching job. Peter tells him that there are good schools in Los Angeles, but Adam explains that Rebecca has started an after-school program at her school, and it's very important to her. He also mentions that Rebecca is very close with her family. His boss understands, but also reminds him that Charlie has specifically requested him to work on the account. If Adam doesn't agree to relocate, they risk losing a very important client. Adam is conflicted, not knowing what to do. Later that night, Rebecca and Adam are watching a movie that makes Adam emotional. Rebecca has a table with various samples of wedding invitations from her mother, Adam's mother, and a local stationery store. They choose an invitation from the stationery store. After picking the invitation, Adam tells Rebecca about the offer his boss made for him. He explains that if he takes the offer, he will become a vice president and make nearly double his current salary. He also tells her that if he takes the offer, they will be able to afford a nice house and start a family. Rebecca asks if this is what he really wants, and he says he wants a happy wife. Rebecca tells him she could see their future children growing up in Los Angeles, and Adam gets excited. The next day, Rebecca goes to her parents' house and finds her mother there. Her mother tells her that a house a few blocks away from them has just gone up for sale. Rebecca worries that it would be too long of a commute, and then tells her mother about Adam's promotion. Her mother gets emotional and gives her a hug. Meanwhile, Adam calls his mother to tell her about his promotion. He tells her that he will be the youngest vice president in the agency, and she congratulates him with excitement. Adam hangs up and hurries to meet Rebecca and the rabbi. Meanwhile, Rebecca is in the rabbi's office at the synagogue, waiting for Adam. She tells the rabbi that Adam is probably stuck in traffic. The rabbi says he heard about Rebecca and Adam's move to Los Angeles, and asks how she's feeling about it. Rebecca says she feels okay about it, but will miss her family and the synagogue. Just then, Adam walks in and apologizes for being late. His phone chimes and he checks it, saying it's his boss. He lies and says his boss just wanted to know why he left. The rabbi can tell he's not being honest, and asks more probing questions about what he told his boss. Adam finally gives up and excuses himself to make a phone call to a friend. After the phone call, he turns off his phone and they continue with the discussion. The rabbi tells them about a wedding set up in the synagogue and asks if they'd like to see it. They walk into the synagogue and the rabbi explains the significance of the chuppah. The next day, Rebecca goes to pick out her wedding cake with her mother and Adam's mother. They taste several cakes and argue over which one to choose. Finally, they ask Rebecca what she thinks, and she suggests cupcakes. The two mothers are surprised by her suggestion. Later, Rebecca and her mother are back at home, with Hannah. There are cakes everywhere, as they try to decide on a cake for the wedding. Hannah jokes that Rebecca should get married more often, and Mrs. Singer says that Adam is a wonderful man, but his mother is difficult. Meanwhile, Adam arrives in Los Angeles and meets with Charlie, the client he has to meet with, and his wife. They are at a gym that Charlie owns, and Adam gives them some ideas on how to improve the gym. Charlie and his wife are impressed by Adam's ideas. In the next scene, Rebecca is teaching a student who has dyslexia. She tells him that many successful people, like Albert Einstein and Picasso, also had dyslexia. They continue with their reading practice, and the boy seems to be improving. He tells her that he's glad she's his teacher. Later, after school, Rebecca and Adam meet their mothers at a flower shop to pick out flowers for the chuppah. Their mothers are having a hard time agreeing on anything, so Rebecca and Adam step in and pick out a lavender flower. Everyone agrees that it's the perfect flower. Adam and Rebecca leave the flower shop, discussing the meeting with their mothers, and Adam's phone starts ringing, but he ignores it. Rebecca reminds him of what the rabbi said about working hard to make a marriage work. Adam says that he knows that, and he promises to work hard to make their marriage work for the rest of their lives. The next day, everyone meets at Rebecca's house to plan the wedding. Before going inside, Rebecca tells Adam that he should start calling her parents mom and dad so that they feel closer to him. Rebecca tells him that her sister's husband did the same thing when they got engaged, and it worked like a charm. They go inside and sit down to eat and plan the wedding. Adam calls Rebecca's father dad, and Rebecca's father responds, calling him son. Adam then says mom to Rebecca's mother, and his mom quickly reminds him that she's right there with him. Rebecca offers to call her mom, but she hesitates before saying okay. Later, Hannah and her husband join them. The group spends time together, talking and laughing. Adam goes to the kitchen to wash the dishes, and Elliot joins him. Elliot asks if everything is okay, and Adam admits that he is a bit anxious about the wedding. Elliot offers some advice on how to cope with wedding planning stress and leaves the kitchen. Rebecca's father comes into the kitchen to wash dishes. Adam offers to help him and they do the dishes together. The next day, Rebecca goes to work at the school. Her boss walks into her classroom and tells her that she is trying to get the school board to pay for more art supplies, but it's like pulling teeth. Rebecca takes the opportunity to tell her boss that she will not be returning to work after the end of the school year, as Adam has gotten a job in Los Angeles. Her boss is surprised and asks if she is not happy working at the school. Rebecca assures her that she is happy, but Adam's career opportunity is important to them. They are still discussing when Kevin walks in and overhears the conversation. Rebecca's boss tells her that she should wait until the end of the semester to hand in her resignation letter, and Rebecca agrees. Meanwhile, at Adam's office, he is sitting with his colleague, talking about work. His boss walks in and tells Adam that the client, Charlie, is still negotiating his contract, so Adam needs to make a good impression on him. Adam says he will do his best, and his boss walks out of the office. Adam starts to talk about how nervous he is about the wedding and the job, and his colleague, Nick, notices. Nick tells Adam to go to the treadmill. That evening, Rebecca and Adam are in her family house with their mothers. The two mothers are bragging about the important people who will be attending the wedding. Rebecca interrupts them and they both keep quiet. Later, Rebecca and Adam are talking about what happened earlier with their mothers. They joke about it and then Adam tells Rebecca that he has to get to the airport to catch his flight. They hug, and Adam leaves for the airport. In Los Angeles, Adam is working on a fitness video for Charlie and his wife. Charlie gives Adam an instruction and he goes to talk to the video director. Rebecca calls Adam and tells him that the band they booked might have to cancel. Adam is distracted and doesn't understand what Rebecca is saying, so he gives vague answers. Finally, he realizes that he isn't paying attention to Rebecca and focuses on the call. He tells Rebecca that since Charlie and his wife won't be attending the wedding, they want to take Adam and Rebecca out on a date. He says goodbye and hangs up. He then turns his attention back to the fitness video. Adam and Rebecca go out to dinner with Charlie and his wife. Charlie and his wife spend the first half of the date bragging about their properties and business deals. Adam notices their bragging and shares a look with Rebecca. They try to change the subject to more pleasant topics. On the way home, Rebecca tells Adam that she doesn't want to be like Charlie and his wife, she wants to be like her parents. Adam says that he wants to be like herself and himself. The next day, Adam and Rebecca meet with the rabbi. The rabbi tells them that in a Jewish wedding, both the bride and groom's parents walk them down the aisle. Adam says that he only has his mother, and the rabbi suggests covering the chuppah with his father's prayer shawl. Adam says he likes the idea of including his father in the ceremony and honoring his memory. After the meeting, Adam informs his mom that he'll like to use his father's prayer shawl and wedding ring on his wedding day, and she agrees to give them to him. Meanwhile, at Mr. and Mrs. Singer's house, they are both in the kitchen. Mrs. Singer is upset that their children's wedding is in a week, and Diane has to travel. Her husband says she has a business to run and she asks what's more important than her son's wedding. Her husband says he thought she doesn't like Diane meddling, but Mrs. Singer says she enjoys complaining about it. Hours later, Diane arrives home. She brings out her late husband's prayer shawl and wedding ring. She admires them and says a Jewish prayer, "May his memory be a blessing." Later, Adam and Nick are talking. Adam says he's having a hard time dealing with Charlie's wife, who is demanding changes to their work. Adam says he is so stressed, and all he can think about is the wedding. He tells Nick that he will be his best man, so he has to be present. Then, Peter walks in and says that Adam needs to go to Los Angeles right away. Adam tells Peter that he can't go because he's about to get married. Peter says that Charlie wants a reshoot of a commercial because he wasn't happy with the previous director. Peter says they need to keep Charlie happy, and that means going to Los Angeles immediately. Adam goes to Rebecca's workplace to tell her that he has to go to Los Angeles for work. He walks into the classroom and meets her teaching Kevin. Rebecca goes in to grab her bag while Kevin tells Adam that Rebecca is his favorite teacher, so he should make sure she lives happily ever after. Rebecca comes out and they all leave the classroom. As they walk out, Adam tells Rebecca about his plans to go to Los Angeles. Rebecca is not happy and says there is still so much to do for the wedding, and she doesn't want to deal with their bickering mothers alone. Adam promises to be back for the wedding. The day of their wedding rehearsal arrives, and Hannah comes to talk to Rebecca. Hannah tells Rebecca that everything is ready for the reception, but Rebecca is worried because she hasn't heard from Adam. Hannah says that Adam is cutting it close, and Rebecca defends him, saying it's not his fault. Then Rebecca's phone rings, and it's Adam. He tells her that he just got off a plane that landed in St. Louis. He explains that there weren't any direct flights available, and his connecting flight was delayed due to bad weather. Adam says he will take a train to Chicago and arrive in time for the wedding. However, he doesn't meet the train and decides to rent a car, but the car ran out of gas on the way. As everyone is waiting for Adam in the synagogue, Rebecca's family and Adam's mother and friend, Nick, are getting restless. Rebecca tells everyone that Adam wants to thank them all for being at the rehearsal and will be there soon. Diane suggests that they should start dinner anyway, to which Mrs. Singer says that's all she cares about. Just then, Adam calls Rebecca, and she puts him on speaker. Adam greets everyone, and the priest asks him when he will be arriving. Adam says he doesn't know. Nick suggests that Adam can FaceTime the rehearsal from where he is, but Rebecca quickly turns down the suggestion. The priest decides to go ahead with the rehearsal and Adam can join when he arrives. Diane asks who she will walk down the aisle with. Mrs. Singer says the invisible man her daughter is supposed to marry. She angrily walks away to practice walking down the aisle alone. Rebecca looks on in shock and embarrassment. Nick tries to break the tension by making a joke, but it falls flat. Adam decides to run to the synagogue and tries to catch up with the wedding rehearsal. He arrives at the synagogue, out of breath, and sees the rabbi talking to Rebecca. Adam apologizes for being late, and his mother says at least he's not late for dinner. Rebecca looks annoyed and leaves the synagogue. Adam follows her and tries to convince her not to leave the rehearsal. Rebecca is upset and leaves. They go to dinner, but the atmosphere is tense. Rebecca and Adam are not interacting like they usually do. Adam goes to talk to Nick, and they discuss the wedding. Hannah sits with Rebecca and asks her what's wrong. Rebecca tells her that she loves Adam, but she's worried that he won't have time for a marriage if he can't even make time for a wedding. Rebecca leaves with Hannah. Surprisingly, Mrs. Singer and Diane decide to team up and make their children's marriage work. They both go to Adam and Rebecca respectively and talk to them. Later, Adam goes to Rebecca's house and apologizes to her. He proposes to her again and she accepts. He tries to kiss her, but Rebecca tells him to save the kiss for the wedding. On the morning of the wedding, Rebecca goes to the school where she works and hands in her resignation letter. Adam goes to the advertising agency and tells Peter that he won't be taking the job in Los Angeles. Peter tries to convince Adam to stay, but Adam tells him that his marriage is more important than any job. In the synagogue, Adam and Rebecca are about to sign the ketubah. Suddenly, Adam tells Rebecca that he has decided to stay in Chicago and not move to Los Angeles. Rebecca tells Adam that she has decided to move to Los Angeles with him. They both smile and are happy that they have made the same decision. Then, Nick's phone rings, and it is Peter calling. Peter tells Nick that Charlie has decided to let Adam stay in Chicago. Everyone is relieved and happy that they can stay together in Chicago. The couple sign the ketubah and their parents walk them down the aisle where they exchange vows. At the end of the ceremony, Adam stomps on a glass with his foot, in accordance with Jewish tradition. The crowd cheers, and Adam and Rebecca kiss. They then head to the wedding reception, where they celebrate with family and friends.